Hello and welcome to episode 120 of Controller Club, the friendly face gaming space, a podcast where three friends from three different continents share in one love, and that is video games. My name is Klein Felt, and alongside me today are two of my best friends in the whole wide gaming world. First, coming to us from across the pond, it is the digital art daredevil himself, Tom Drew. Tom, how are you? What's going on? What's up?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I actually went to a really cool show last night. One of my favorite podcasts, The Weekly Planet, did like a live show in London. So I went along, and it was amazing. Like it was just half of the podcast. Like one of the hosts there, Nick Mason, couldn't make it. But it was great. Like I'm just in such a giddy mood seeing like basically my favorite podcast, and then coming to do this podcast with you guys. So yeah, it's been a good weekend so far.
What theater was it in London?
Oh, it's called King's Place. It's near King's Cross Station. So it was like it was a weird kind of venue, but it was pretty cool. But it's like jam packed. A lot of Weekly Planet fans in London, apparently. So yeah, it was
I'm
good to be
just
out.
one day Controller Club live show
Yeah,
in that
watch
very
that
theater.
space.
Next up, it is everybody's favorite Australian, the Australian abroad, Canadian in training, mother of a daughter, Lauren Rouse. Lauren, how are you and how is your fur baby?
The intro gets better every week. Yes, my child Tofino, I watch her every day on the live stream. She's getting so big. I hate it, but apart from that, all doing well. I haven't been in to check physically on her for a while, so maybe I'll do that soon and report back because she's growing before my eyes. I don't like it.
You know, is it just what's the office quote? Why don't they tell us about it's the good old days when we're in the good old days? That's what's happening with you and your little fur baby here. You're gonna turn around and she'll be a fully grown adult otter soon enough.
I know they're going to put her in that enclosure with all the other adult otters, and then what am I to do? She'll be with all her friends. She'll forget about me. I hate it.
Ugh, the worst. On today's show, the PS5 is real expensive. Annapurna's walked off the job, and video game adaptations will not stop happening. So we're gonna talk about them. But before all that, I want to ask the two of you, what have we been playing over the last week or so? Tom, have you been getting up to anything exciting in the world of gaming?
Yeah, so last week I mentioned I was playing Metroid Prime, but I wanted to finish it before we played our game of the month, which is Star Wars Outlaws. And I did finish it. I finished Metroid Prime. And it's really good. It is a really great game. It
Hot take.
definitely yeah, I mean, it's
You heard it here first.
not as if it's one of the best rated games of all time or anything like that. But yeah, I definitely think for me, I might not be as high on it as some people. Like, I think it gets to a point where the difficulty it gets like super high and very like quite tedious in that like there's not a lot of checkpoints, especially towards the end with like the final boss fight. I like you there's basically like two phases of the final boss fight, and I died like right as I was about to kill the boss, and I had to go all the way back to the beginning. And it's a very like it's not even that difficult. It's just kind of like an endurance test. So it was just a lot of like I just got to get past this freaking guy. Yeah. So but no, it is really great, and I would recommend it to anyone interested, especially if you're interested in Prime 4. Like, this is a great like obviously it's the first Prime game, so it's like a good entry point into it. But yeah, really enjoyed it. But now on Star Wars Outlaws, and we will talk about that more in a couple of weeks. I definitely have some thoughts about that game.
Have you started it? You've started Outlaws for sure?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
like I want to say I've been to space, so that's about as far as I've been up to space and back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where
You've
I'm at
been
the game.
through I would say like
Like the
the
prologue.
intro. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
at that
exactly.
point where I was like, "Oh, there are aspects of this game I enjoy."
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I definitely. It's there are a lot of conflicting thoughts about it. So it'll be interesting to talk
It's a
about it
weird I
properly.
can't wait to like do a deep dive on this game. I think it will be the most interesting conversation that we've had with one of these new Game Plus book club games in a very long time. Just I'll quickly jump in here. I haven't been playing a ton other than Star Wars Outlaws, but I can confidently tell the two of you that I have rolled credits on Star Wars
Oh
Outlaws.
wow.
28 hours, I think. Um, and yeah, as I said, can't wait to talk about it. I'm still this past week finished Star Wars Outlaws and immediately was like, I feel this itch, and the only thing that'll satisfy it is more Balatro. And so I've jumped back down into the Balatro bucket again. I haven't played probably since like March or April when I was really into it. And man, that game is just like, it's so good. I thought I'd done a lot, but I really don't think I have. And they've added so much stuff since then. I like opened up the game for the first time and I got like 30, I kid you not, unlock notifications saying like, you've unlocked this, you've unlocked this, you've unlocked this. And it was like, whoa, this changes things. So I've been doing that. And then, yeah, make my way through Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2, just being a big old dude smashing aliens with my chainsaw sword and shooting them in the head. And I think the best thing I can say about this game is if you were a child like me who really liked like the more skulls on something, the better it was, you'll love this game. You will love it. It's the most heavy metal video game I think I've ever played. There's like at one point you go to like this like spaceship and it's literally just like a cathedral that's in space. And it's like it's so rock and roll and so dumb, but it's like it's scratching a particular part of my brain that I like am really enjoying. Sure, it's like just totally disgusting and I'm sawing these aliens in half and blood's getting everywhere and I'm covered in it and I'm just this big gruff dude with my other big gruff dudes saving the universe. But there's just like there's something about it that it feels like a game from a different era, and I don't know. It's satisfying the craving I have right now for just like something fun and dumb. And then Plucky Squire will come along in a couple days, and that'll consume my time from there. Lauren, what have you been playing?
Pretty much similar to you guys. I'm just on Star Wars Outlaws. It's a really large game,
Big
so
game.
it doesn't leave much room for anything else, and I'm not even going to attempt that. Apart from Animal Crossing, again, Island is under construction. More to come. But then, yeah, as I was telling you guys just before we got on air, I have been hunting out some real life video games this weekend in Vancouver. They're filming reshoots for The Last of Us Season 2 here, which is incredibly exciting for me because I was so disappointed that I missed them filming when I moved here. But it's actually incredibly lucky for them because I would be insufferable if they had been filming while I was here because I would be there every day. Just watching, standing by, not hurting anyone. I'm just watching. But yeah, I've been pretty annoying around there the last couple of days, just walking through the set, taking pictures where I'm legally allowed to, and just seeing what's happening. So that's been really exciting for me, particularly, you know, we're all big Last of Us fans on this podcast, but to see something that you care about so much come to life and then at certain points be able to like walk through the set. Like that just doesn't happen. It does not happen in Australia ever. So to be able to kind of do that here was just such a surprise and such a joy. So I really have been having a good time with that.
What's the coolest, without spoiling anything like crazy? I'm sure you didn't see any major spoiler plot beats or anything, but what was like the coolest Last of Us Easter egg thing that you, the Last of Us fan, saw and just started like nerding out about?
Oh, so many things, like the detail that they've put into the set. I think this morning when I showed up and I saw WLF trucks, I was pretty excited because I was like, oh my God, I know what's happening. But there was also, for the real fans, they'll know what's going on. I saw some pallets.
Oh,
Yeah.
are we gonna drag them
There's
across
some
the water?
pallets.
Maybe.
Okay. Here we go.
Maybe. That's what we've been playing. Let's get into the news we choose. Tom Drew, give us that news jingle.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
We'll start with it's a weird week. I guess we'll call this the good news. We'll start with the new console that was unveiled. After weeks of reporting, it's finally happened. The PS5 Pro is here. This is my story, so we'll just jump right into it. Tom Warren at The Verge, he writes, the PS5 Pro, it is official. After months of leaks, Sony just announced a more powerful PlayStation 5 console during a special technical presentation. Mark Cerny, the lead architect of the PlayStation 5 console, says the PS5 Pro improves on the original console in 3 key ways: a larger GPU, advanced ray tracing, and custom AI-driven upscaling. The PS5 Pro will launch on November 7th, priced at, here we go, $699 US, $699.99, and looks similar to the slim version of the PS5, just like recent leaks suggested it would. It has 3 stripes down the side and doesn't come with a disc drive. You'll be able to purchase a 4K Blu-ray disc drive separately and optional console covers as well. Also, A vertical stand is sold separately if you want to stand a thing up vertically. Quote, "It is the most powerful console we've ever built," says Cerny. "The hardware upgrades inside will result in 45% faster rendering, according to Cerny, and should improve the detail of certain games and frame rates. One of the key reasons for the PS5 Pro is to allow PS5 Pro players to not have to choose between performance modes or fidelity ones. Quote, "Players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time," says Cerny. Sony has upgraded the GPU inside the PS5 to 67% more compute units than the current PlayStation 5 console, and it has 28% faster memory as well. That all adds up to the 45% faster rendering of games and the ability to improve frame rates in titles without having to lose visual fidelity. Just some quick points. I have a lot more written down, but I'll just go like kind of through the Coles notes of what they actually showed off and stuff. The big thing is their PSSR, they're calling it, PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. It is essentially an upscaling technique similar to NVIDIA's DLSS and AMD's FSR to improve frame rates and image quality for PlayStation games. Also, they're saying that the PS5 Pro will allow for a game boost option for a lot of past titles. It'll apply to more than 8,500 backwards compatible PS4 games for the PS5 Pro, kind of similar to what Xbox is doing with some of their older stuff with like the backwards compatibility since the Xbox One generation. It will support Wi-Fi 7, VRR, 8K, and it will come with a 2 terabyte solid state hard drive. We all sat down, we being us three, and watched this reveal together. You can go over on our TikTok right now and see a little, I don't know, the emotional roller coaster that Mark Cerny and Sony put us on with this reveal. If you have not seen the clip, you do not 100% know where we're kind of at with this thing. So we'll get into that right now. Lauren Rouse, we've talked so much about the PS5 Pro in the last few weeks. What did you think of this thing actually getting revealed? Do you feel that you need one? And what did you think of like the whole presentation?
Okay, so I liked, for starters, that some things were obviously expected. The design was, as we talked about last week, was the design that was leaked in the kind of anniversary art. So it was intentional by them to show that off in that design. And so, yeah, it looked exactly as we expected, has the sort of 3 stripes down the side of it. I believe, I having seen physical pictures of it out in the wild now, it's a little taller than the PS5 Slim. So I guess we're kind of back to the original PS5 size. So that's interesting. And then I was also interesting to see that a couple of the things we had on our wish list actually came true. It does come with a 2 terabyte hard drive, and it got rid of the performance and fidelity modes. We didn't get everything that we asked for, but it ticked a couple of things off, so I liked that. And now I know when we reacted to, well, it was all fresh happening, we were all, I think, a little bit outraged because the price of this thing is just insane. The Australian pricing came out earlier in the week, and I think it was $1,200 for a PlayStation.
It's $950 Canadian.
Yeah, it's just insane. This is like a hardcore piece of technology that just the everyday consumer just won't be able to afford. But then I've been thinking about it over the week. People have been doing some articles, some comparisons, some investigating, and they're saying that, this PS5 Pro is kind of comparable to the hardware in a gaming PC. PC players will fork out thousands of dollars to build the best possible PC and expect results like this. And they've actually made it somewhat cheaper in the PlayStation version. So you're actually kind of getting a good deal for this price. So if you kind of look at it that way, in the way that this is like the PS5 Pro for the really hardcore gamers who want that kind of graphical power, performance, resolution, that kind of thing, I actually think it's probably a good sell. But that's just like maybe not as important to the everyday person. It's definitely not as important to me, who can't justify spending that money on something, on something like that, where it's like I'm fine with the resolution that my PS5 has. And, I don't even know if my TV can output to that kind of quality at this point. So having some reflection, I'm not as outraged as I kind of was. I just thought they were taking us all for a ride revealing this thing. Actually, the guts are pretty good, and the price is kind of justified, but it is like exorbitant. So I think this is for people who maybe they don't have a PS5 and they're considering like getting the top of the line one now that they can really compare to their PC. Maybe this will pull people away from PC who want to finally have a console that can like compete with that. But I don't think I need one. I don't think I will be upgrading, and I don't think many people will be tossing away their old PS5s to upgrade to this.
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting point that you bring up in comparing this to a gaming PC because like I don't know, the NVIDIA 4090 30 like the graphics cards, that's what I'm looking for. If you want like a good high-end one of those, you're forking out more than $1,000, and that's just the GPU. Like that is just one component of a high-end computer. And this can do maybe not reach the absolute heights of gaming PCs right now, where you're spending $4,000-5,000 at times on a setup, and you're getting incredible results from it. But it's going to do a decent enough job, and as you said, I think it is actually a little bit cheaper. I do still think that $699 is absolutely crazy, but I too have sat here and reflected a little bit on our reaction. I was kind of gobsmacked seeing the price for the first time, but I don't know if this is for everyone. I don't think this is a mass market thing. I'm sure Sony would love millions of people to rush out and buy this thing, and I'm sure people will, but it is way more for those high tech niche users, the people that need the best of the best, the people that get the top of the line iPhone every year a new one comes out, because that's what they're interested in. And so I think that for that reason, cool. They did not win me over. I don't know if the presentation itself was really that effective showing me PS4 games. I understand why you can't show me like Astrobot, because you don't want to make it look better, this brand new game. Like you don't want to tell people, "Hey, that like that PS5 you just bought, like it sucks." In this new game, it does not look that great on it. It could look so much better. But the stuff they were showing me was very much like, okay, it's Ratchet and Clank, but the tents in the distance of this like crowd scene are a little bit clearer. It just felt it felt very Mark Cerny. It was branded as a special technical showcase. So this was not a state of play. This was, I think, people maybe in the chat at when it was going on, I'm sure we're like, "Where's GTA 6, Half-Life 3, blah 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 blah." Like this isn't that place. This was very much like Mark Cerny is going to get up there and talk about wanting to scan your ears like he did all those years ago. And so I think that there is a market for this. I don't think it's for everyone. Am I kind of jealous that I won't be getting one? A little bit, but that's just because I want, like, I like the shiny new thing. Um, if PlayStation wants to like justify this thing's existence, send us, like, we'll do it. We'll help justify, like, send us review units, I guess. I don't know. Tom, are you sitting here itching to get your hands on a PS5 Pro after seeing what Mark Cerny has had to say?
Yeah, definitely not. I think yeah, this presentation, just watching it back, even like I just, yeah, like you said, I don't think it did a really great job of kind of demonstrating like the true benefits. I mean, there was obviously like, you know, some higher fidelity here and there, and like you do see the kind of, in some cases, like the better side of having a pro. But then on the other hand, it's like with the Ratchet and Clank in particular, like the gameplay, they have to like slow it down to show you how, like, oh yeah, there are actually like more frames here. So it's like, if you have to slow it down to show us that, like, it looks, you know, if it's just playing at normal kind of speed, you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference in terms of a frame perspective on that specific case, for example. But I think the thing that gets me the most with it, in terms of the price, is just the fact that there isn't a disc drive. Like the fact
Mm.
that you have to buy it on top of it,
And the
it just
stand.
rubs me the wrong way. And the sand, like it just rubs me the wrong way. If all that was
Yeah.
included, maybe I could feel a bit better about it. But that just feels a bit, I don't know, that they're kind of nickel and diming a little bit too much. And in regards to the PC comparisons, I have seen a lot of people being like, "Guys, this is the opportunity to get into PC," and I kind of understand where that's coming from in a lot of ways. Like, because, you know, with PC, yes, it's a big kind of you know, initial investment hurdle. But with Steam, they have sales all the time. Like, and in comparison to like the PlayStation Store, a lot of those sales are a lot lower on platforms like Steam, and Epic Games gives you free games all the time. So there are benefits there, but also at the same time, PC doesn't give you like a console experience. You can't sit down with a PC on your sofa and just like chill out. I feel like, I mean, you could, but I
There
feel
are
like
ways.
there are ways, but I
Like,
think like
people
it's, I
plug
don't
their
know.
PCs into TVs all the time now, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's just it's not optimal. And I think like as well with PC, like there's that kind of thing of, oh, I'm gonna boot up this game. The first thing I'm gonna have to do is figure out what settings I gotta change everything. With PS5 or like a Xbox, you just put it in the disc, in theory, just put it in and it just plays. So there's benefits to both. At the end of the day, but yeah, in terms of this, I don't know. Like it just seems a bit to me a little bit too egregious. Especially because you know I feel like the Switch 2 is going to come along and not be this exorbitant price, and it won't be as powerful as this. It won't be like blowing people away in the same way necessarily, but I think that's going to probably generate a lot more buzz and be a lot more exciting. So yeah, I think for someone who hasn't bought into the ecosystem yet and does have that disposable income, um sure, like this might be something for you. And there's stuff that is like genuinely cool about it, like the upscaling with it does sound like a cool feature that they're adding to it. But yeah, this didn't do enough for me to like run out and buy and trade in my PS5 to get like a PS5 Pro. I don't think it's doing that just yet.
Which they'll give you no money for because trade-in values have gone down by so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, the day it was announced, they all got slashed.
I have a follow-up question for you both. Do we think that the PlayStation 6 will cost as much as the PS5 Pro at launch?
I hope
I
not.
don't know. I don't know if it'll be 700 like the Pro is,
Yeah.
but I don't think it will be like 499 like the PS5 was. I think it'll probably settle around like it'll probably be a $600 console. Like that's just I think the reality of it. I'm starting to wonder what's the Switch 2 going to cost. I know it's not going to be $600, but I think it's going to be quite a bit more than the Switch was and continues to be.
Yeah, that will be interesting to watch. Like and they could
Things
get
are
caught
just
in like a
expensive right now.
They are. But I wonder if like the Wii U was slightly more than the Wii initially was. That kind of didn't work out too well, but for a factor of reasons with the Wii U. But I do think with Nintendo, at least this is my like prediction. I wonder if they'll try to get it as close as they can to that original Switch price, just to get the onboarding a bit better. But yeah, in terms of the PS6, I mean PS6, $600, it writes itself, right? It makes sense. But no, I think that is just the kind of reality that I think it's gonna eke that way, especially if the economy is going to stay the way it is. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation, this isn't that different than the PS5 was. Like it is more expensive, but it's still insane.
Well, I think they said that the PS5 Pro is more akin to the PS3 price at inflation, right? This is still almost like, yeah, double the
It's a lot.
price of what it was. But I actually do think that this is going to be like similar to the starting price we'll see for the PlayStation 6. If this is a glimpse at the future of what PlayStation is looking at, it is clearly we're heading into hardware territory. That is the selling point now. Because really, what do you do when you like evolve that next generation of consoles? The only thing that can get better is the resolution, the graphics, the power, which means you need the more powerful components. Those are of course in high demand right now. You've got your Apples and your Samsungs all competing for it in their phones, and of course graphics cards and things like that are all, there's only a limited supply that drives up the price of these things. And I think we're going to just have to like, consoles are just going to get expensive. It's going to become an expensive market, and maybe that just means less people will upgrade to the PS6. Of course, that's going to be a problem when they start having PlayStation 6 exclusive games. But I think we're getting to a point where they're like, the people who will buy it because there are people out there who will.
And I think people will buy the Pro. Like right now, I think it will start slow, but the big thing for this console will be how does GTA 6 run on it compared to the base PS5? If it is significantly better this time next year, watch those things start flying off the shelves, because I have a feeling there are people waiting who may have a PS5, may not, and have been waiting to see when GTA 6 was going to come out, and we'll see it on it and go, it's not coming to PC right away, so this is the best experience I can get for the biggest game of the generation.
Yeah, and it makes sense in that case because like those consumers are just buying a console just for that game. So like the the retail of it all, like it's not that much of a hit, I guess, because they're only investing in that one game. But yeah, it just sucks because gaming's already such an expensive hobby as it is, especially if you're in those different parts of those different ecosystems, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. You're spending a lot of money. So I just wish, and this is just like, this isn't going to happen, but I just wish that companies like this were just like more interested in getting more people on board and like at a more reasonable price and a more inviting starting level than having to almost make it kind of exclusionary in this way. But yeah, it just sucks.
November 7th, $699.99. Pre-orders go live September 26th, I think. So if you're itching for one, I have a feeling this holiday season, if you want a PS5 Pro, you will be able to find one. Tom, do you want to take us to your story?
Yeah, this is a bit of a beefy one, so you guys will have to bear with me, but there's a lot to cover, and I feel like it's important to get all the context. But I'm talking about how Annapurna Interactive's team has resigned. Basically, the whole of Annapurna Interactive is out the door. And there's a lot of this information initially comes from Jason Schreier at Forbes. So I'll just read this here. The entire staff of Annapurna Interactive, the video game publishing division of Megan Ellison's Annapurna Studio, resigned this month following a dispute with its owner. Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary and his team had been negotiating with Ellison, the daughter of billionaire Larry Ellison, to spin off the video game division as an independent entity. When Ellison pulled out of the negotiations, Gary and the other executives resigned and were followed by around 24 other staffers. Quote, all 25 members of the Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned, end quote, Gary and the group said in a joint statement. Quote, this was one of the hardest decisions we have ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly, end quote. A spokesperson for Annapurna confirmed that it explored a spin-off and said the parties failed to reach an agreement, which led to the resignations. And this is from Ellison herself, and she said this in a statement to Bloomberg News. Our top priority is continuing to support our developer and publishing partners during this transition. We're committed to not only our existing slate of games, but also expanding our presence in the interactive space as we continue to look for opportunities to take a more integrated approach to linear and interactive storytelling across film, TV, gaming, and theatre. The spokesperson said that all existing games and projects will remain under Annapurna, and new president Hector Sanchez has told developers that the company will honor existing contracts and replace staff who've left. According to people asked to not be identified because those conversations were private, Sanchez originally was a co-founder of Annapurna Interactive, and he was brought back last month, seemingly because of these resignations. And as a little follow-up to this, Schreier also said, because a lot of people have been wondering, Remedy, who made Control and Alan Wake, they made a deal with Annapurna, and they're like, what's happening with that? But Schreier basically kind of cleared up that, and he says here, since a lot of people are asking, Remedy's deal for Control 2 and Alan Wake is with the broader company Annapurna Pictures and is not impacted by the departure of Annapurna Interactive staff. So the different deals with different subcategories of the company, basically. And there's this report from Marie Delisandri at gamesindustry.biz goes a bit more into detail about that, and basically says, let's read this here, Remedy's communications director Thomas Puha reacted on social media yesterday to clarify that the Finnish studio's deal for Control 2 and its TV projects were with Annapurna Pictures and not the firm's video game branch, so they're seemingly unaffected. And the studio itself is self-publishing Control 2, and Annapurna, their involvement is just funding, so they're just giving money to do this because they're also developing stuff on film and TV, and that's kind of the deal that they've made to make that happen. So this has led a lot of people to wonder, like, what's happening with all the other Annapurna interactive games, and there's been some updates with some of those. So elsewhere, the Stanley Parable developer Davey Redden confirmed that his next project, Wonderstop, is also not impacted. On Twitter, he said, just for the folks asking, we're 100% okay. nothing's going to stop us from getting Wonderstop out the door very soon. And similar sentiments were shared by Studio Beethoven and Dinosaur about their upcoming game Mixtape, as well as Matt Newell, who's working on the game Lush Foil Photography Sim, the latter of whom stated that game is mostly complete, so is unlikely to be affected. And then this also leads to the last point of this whole spiel. If you'll bear with me for a little bit more. Blade Runner 2033 Labyrinth was the first game to be developed internally at Annapurna Interactive. And a lot of people are like, what's happening with that? Like, if everyone's left, like, is that still happening? And I couldn't find anything like definitive of what was going on with that, but I did look up. So this game was going to be directed by Chelsea Hash, who worked on. She was the game director of Solar Ash, another kind of indie game. And on her LinkedIn, she does sort of indicate that she's formally, quote, a game director at Annapurna. So it probably means that the project is at a standstill and we're not really sure what's going to happen to it at this point. But it could go either way, really. So yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot going on with that situation. It's kind of a thing of like, I don't know. It's cool that like there's kind of solidarity with these workers that they couldn't figure out a deal that would work well for the studio. So I guess there's like that aspect to it, which I think is almost kind of commendable. But I also worry on two fronts, like what's going to happen to the other games. I mean, some of them seem like they're going to be okay, but then the other side of it is like if these employees leave and start their own thing, how's that going to turn out? But I'll pass over to you guys. What do you think, Klein? What do you make of this situation?
Clyde, here you go. Here's this pile. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
This is crazy. Like, we talk about so many people in the gaming industry over the last couple of years leaving the industry because they were let go, because the industry is shrinking, and just the realities of being there have been layoffs and layoffs and layoffs and studio closures and people really tightening the financial belt. I haven't seen anything ever quite like this, where it is the employees themselves actively resigning and leaving, and in a gaming industry where there are less and less jobs, fewer and fewer people working within the industry itself, that takes a lot of guts. And so I'm in vocal support of the worker here. I always will be. I want to know exactly what happened. I know that Jason Schreier, after his immediate story of this, followed up saying that in the coming weeks, he's putting his ducks in a row right now and will have more investigative reporting, more like deep dive journalism, the kind of great deep dive journalism that he does from this story in particular. So I'm going to like hold off my thoughts and feelings, I guess, until we see that, until we kind of get the beat for beat from his sources, things like that. I think it is commendable for them if they are standing up for themselves and doing this. I want to know exactly what happened. And it's crazy. Like, it's absolutely wild.
Yeah, I think it's just like it comes down to we don't really know what that actual deal was gonna be of Annapurna Interactive like spinning off into their own kind of separate entity. Like what are the details behind that? I think that kind of will inform what this all means and why it kind of all blew up in this way. I mean, like it is interesting the context of like this company is owned by billionaires essentially. So like I guess like it is. I don't want to support a billionaire in this scenario. But it's just it is very strange. But yeah, Lauren, do you have any thoughts about this whole thing?
Yeah, of course, it's hard to speculate. It's not really up to us to know what's going on behind closed doors here. So it would be, we can't really like say anything without knowing for sure what was happening. And I'm sure, Schreier will come out with his expose, and I would love to know what is really going on. But, people don't just all leave, particularly in an industry as dire as this one, without good reason. So I wonder what the working conditions were like there. Obviously, they wanted to become an independent studio or an independent entity for a reason. So that maybe speaks to some sort of like, maybe not so great working conditions, or maybe there was a conflict of creative control. I don't really know. It's interesting that they've said that they will, continue to own the games that they have under their slate and will replace the people who have left. So it seems like they're just going to be like, okay, that was your decision to leave. We will rehire. And I mean, in any normal situation, people might be like, no, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole because these people left and I stand in solidarity with them. But this is an incredibly desperate industry at this point. There are people, Microsoft let go another 600 people this week. There are just so many people out of work. And if these guys come calling and being like, hey, we have a job in your industry that you're
We have a
qualified
whole
for.
studio we need to fill.
Yeah, there's like some great projects being worked on there, but maybe it's like paid really poorly. People are kind of desperate these days. You might just, I mean, I know I see it in the journalism industry. A really exciting job opportunity comes your way, but it pays poorly. But you're like, well, do I do what I love or do I do what I need to do to survive? So I can kind of, I wouldn't sort of think poorly of anybody who would take that job offer if it's in front of them. But it's just a really strange situation. I think going in, if I was someone looking at one of those jobs, I'd be like looking at it with my eyes open, like, am I going to be overworked, taking advantage of what's happening here? But we won't know, of course, until more details about this are revealed. But at the end of the day, it's really sad. And I hope that all the games that are coming out, get their due, that they are marketed properly and sold properly and are rewarded properly. And that the developers who have chosen to leave, hopefully, will maybe form their own studio or find work elsewhere.
That's what it seems like to me, that is going to be the case, that they'll form their own kind of collective. I just wonder, because like I said, this studio, Annapurna, just as a whole, is backed by like billionaires, and I wonder if these people who have left will be able to get that same kind of funding. I know that's super difficult in the landscape that we're in, but hopefully they'll have the contacts that they can. I mean, they don't make this decision and then just not have a plan in place. I feel like there is something to come. But I just hope that Annapurna's done some great stuff with their games division, and they have great stuff on the way, still in the works. So yeah, it's I hope those are okay. But I'll be interested to see how their games division functions now, with a completely new stuff in place, and how it kind of how it works, what they're gonna do now. Yeah, it's wild.
Okay, that's the news for this week. Lauren, Tom, let's get out of here and let's get into some video game adaptations. Tom, Drew, give us that outro.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
Next up, we have the big topic of the week, the meat and potatoes of the episode, the video game adaptation hype rankings. Now, the reason that we are doing this, one, Lauren was visiting the post-apocalypse this week and actually got to see a video game adaptation happening in real life, which is very cool. And two, there's just been so many of these. It feels like every single week some game is getting optioned to be some TV show or some movie, or we're getting production updates on things that have long been gestating for years and years and years. I know just this week they finished filming the Watch Dogs movie, which was originally announced over 10 years ago, which is absolutely wild. I still can't believe we're getting a Watch Dogs movie. So we thought we would kind of go through and make a bit of a tier list of quite a pretty extensive tier list of most of the game to film, movie, TV adaptations that will be coming in the next, I want to say, couple of years, but with video game adaptations, you really never know. I remember when the Uncharted movie was announced with Mark Wahlberg playing Nathan Drake, and then he ended up playing Victor Sullivan in the end, and Tom Holland took over that role. The things are never really, I don't know. A video game adaptation is never really happening in my mind until I'm sitting down in the theater and actually watching it, or turning on HBO Max and watching it on my TV, because you never know what can happen. But we've made a bit of a list here. You two, Lauren and Tom, the only other people here on the podcast, did this before, right? I was away. I don't remember doing this at all. What was it like back then? What was your outlook on the video game adaptation world? What were we looking at that point as things that were coming and we were excited about?
Well, we were trying to remember when we did this because it was quite a while ago. I think it was at least a year ago. But I thought it would be fun to revisit now because, like you say, Klein, so many more games adaptations are in development now. I think probably off the success of some of the previous ones that we probably talked about last time and we're very excited for. Some of them have new seasons coming, and now we have more to judge off based on the existing seasons or movies that have come out. So I think it's going to be interesting to see this time around whether our opinions have changed on certain properties from last time. And also, I know we had a banished tier
Yeah.
when we did it because we're like, some of these should not exist. And so it'll be interesting to see if we have any more of those today. But yeah, it's great to see that the world is paying attention to video games in Hollywood, like Hollywood's paying attention. But as we've talked about, even in the last few weeks, some of them are really great, and some of them are really not. There is still, like, the pendulum still swings.
So if you want to know exactly when you guys did it, I'm trying to remember. I remember sitting and listening to it. I remember exactly where I was, and I can pinpoint this moment in time because I was coming back from seeing my niece for the first time. She just turned 2. So that was 2 years ago. I am looking right now for the exact episode. It's got to be like,
Yes, we couldn't
okay.
have done this before the show.
I
Definitely.
know. Here it
We're
is.
doing live.
Episode number 24, released in August 2022. Our most
God.
anticipated video
So
game
nearly 100
adaptation.
episodes ago.
Nearly
Holy.
100 episodes ago. Yeah, and I vividly remember listening to it because the big thing at that point was we were just starting to get our first glimpses at the Last of Us TV show. And The Last of Us had not come out yet, and that was the big talking point of the whole episode. Was you two were very excited to see The Last of Us on HBO. And it worked
Some
out.
things never change.
Some things never change. Here we are, 2 years later. Maybe another 2 years from now, we'll be sitting here doing season 3 of The Last of Us. I think we can just start getting into them. Some of them, I have a feeling we will all be in agreement. There will be no need for any deep dive conversation. We can just kind of give our thoughts and put it on the list. I think we're going to start with some fairly easy ones. Let's start with Arcane Season 2, coming up very quick here on Netflix. We are breaking these down, by the way, in the typical, internet tier system. We have the S tier, the A tier, the B tier, the C tier, the D tier, and the F tier, aka banished. Let's jettison this thing off into space and never think about it again. Okay, Arcane Season 2. How are we feeling? Lauren, you're excited. I know you are.
It's an instant S tier. I think this is one that we don't have to discuss.
Yeah.
Tom, are you in agreement?
100%. I think this is like the easiest guarantee that it's going to be like, it's just going to meet all expectations.
It's at least going to have a banger soundtrack. It will have an S tier soundtrack, and that's why I also think it's going to be S tier, because they just announced those artists, and it's going to be very good. Next up, I think this one will also be fairly easy. The Last of Us Season 2. A dangerous game, The Last of Us Season 2. It's following up on a incredibly beloved first season. I don't know if the first season could have gone any better. It was basically across the board much celebrated by people who'd played the games, and the thing I loved, people who had not. So many people in my life, people at the Direct reaching out to me going, you guys were hiding this from us for how many years? I'm like, hiding it from you? You could have gone and played the game at any moment,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Last of Us Season 2, I think is going to be as good, if not better. But just because that's just the confidence that they have given me no reason not to believe that. I'm going to say S tier, but I don't know if you two agree or disagree with that. Lauren, you've seen it. You've actually witnessed the whole
lived it.
season live in
I'm
in front
actually
of
in
you.
it if you look really closely in the background. I was just behind the
Whoa.
building there.
Lauren was whistling as she was walking down the set, hoping that they
Yeah.
would hire her to
My
be
footprints
a
in
scar.
the ground. No, this is obviously banished. But yeah, no,
Oh no.
this is an S
It-
tier. We're all very
okay.
excited about it. Not much discussion further.
Tom?
Yeah, I think it has to be. And I think like, because we are ranking these in terms of how like excited we are. And in terms of this, like, I'm just really interested to see how they execute on this.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to be similar to how the game is, like structure wise? Are they going to change up the thing? I think it might be a bit of a change, which I think will add. And I really liked season 1 of The Last of Us, but I think if they do change things up, it'll make it even more exciting, like to see how they kind of mess around with that story, because there's a lot you can play around with, particularly with that one. So
some of the best parts of The Last of Us season 1 were the things that they took creative liberties with, right? Like I think to some of the mall stuff between Ellie and Riley, some of that wasn't in the game. A lot of it was, but there were little things here and there. The whole episode 3, like the whole Bill and Frank, like it was just ranked I think it was number 25 on the 100 greatest TV episodes of all time list by the Rolling Stone. Like has nothing to do with really the game at all. It's completely new and was amazing. So I hope it will ultimately tell the same story. We will hit the same beats, but I think structurally they can have some fun here, and I think they are feeling themselves a little bit coming off season 1, going, we got the stuff. We can play around. We can take some liberties if we want to.
Yeah, the only thing that can bring this down is the weight of expectation.
Yeah,
which is our own
now
fault.
that's the hard thing, right? That's the debut album is always it's that sophomore slump that can get you. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I'm not gonna be dumb. Okay, I'm not gonna put it in S tier, even though it might be in my heart an S tier. I think it's gonna be good. It looks great. Shadow the Hedgehog is there. I am willing to say B tier. That's as low as I'm willing to go.
I'm gonna be like 100% honest. If we didn't do the show, I don't think I'd watch the movie.
Tom, you're breaking my heart.
I'm so sorry, but
not
I just
even
think
for the ultimate life form. Keanu Reeves, he's there. He's gonna say, "Damn, it's gonna be cool."
3
Knuckles is a
times by this
real
franchise. Like I don't know. I think
Have you though? Did you hate Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that much?
I didn't hate it, but I just think it can be so much better. That's the thing for me. I feel like there's so much more. Sonic fans deserve more. Like I'll never say that about
Do
anything
we?
else, but they deserve better than this. These movies and these shows. It's crazy. I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like, look, it's not banished. I don't even think it's a D tier. For me, I would put it in like a C tier, but that's just where I'm coming from it. But we'll see.
Lauren, we know you love the Blue Blur. You're so excited. You can't wait. Jim Carrey's back. He came out of retirement, Lauren. And he's going to play 2 characters, both Dr. Robotnik and his grandfather. What more could you want?
I feel like we're in the middle of the presidential debate right now.
They're eating our hedgehogs.
Listen, I am actually...
Yeah.
If Shadow was not in this, I wouldn't be excited. But Shadow's in this, so I'm excited.
Yeah, he is.
It's going in B.
We did it. We won.
Sorry,
Lauren's
Tom.
a Sonic fan, guys.
I actually think this genuinely looks like an exciting movie, and I'm going to see it. Look, and sorry, Tom, so are you, because we're going to talk about it.
No, I will see it. That's the thing, I will see it.
You're going to have to hear that orchestral version of Green Hill Zone in the theaters. You're going to goosebumps all over, and you're going to be like, why did I ever doubt this movie? Here we go. Best Picture 2024. It's coming.
What? This is one of the problems. Like, the movie so far have barely used any of the Sonic music. So it's
but
like,
did you hear the trailer? The trailer uses... Oh, Tom, it's going to be so good. He's going to be...
We got a lot more to go through. You can take this offline.
I know. Yeah.
Minecraft movie. Just got a trailer for this one. Woof. I don't know where we want. I am so just like flummoxed by this thing. I have no idea where I if I'm excited to see it or not.
Yeah. Part of me is like really curious, but part of me is almost like, this movie looks like it's an affront to God. It's just dreadful to look at, you know? I heard like someone was talking about just movies in general. I think it was at the Weekly Planet show, actually. But it's interesting how, I'm just going to parrot what they said. But it's interesting that, you know, for a visual medium, a lot of movies these days have given up on the visuals. You know what I mean? Like, and I think this movie really falls into that category. I wouldn't be upset if we put it in banished, if I'm honest, but I'll see what you guys think.
I was also going to put it in banished because I have zero increment of excitement for this. I was excited once. I feel like we talked about this last time, Tom, and we were both kind of optimistic because, again, it could have been something like the Lego Movie. Yeah. It may still be something like the Lego Movie. We haven't seen it, but all the signs are pointing to it not being like the Lego Movie. So,
will Minecraft be better or worse than Borderlands?
I think it will be just more entertaining.
Lauren's stomach like twist there.
I think it'll be funnier in that, like, even if it's not funny, I think like just the quality of it might be inherently hilarious. So I think I'll be more entertained at least in this.
I think Borderlands will be better.
Wow.
I'm setting my expectations so low so that if it is it does end up being good, I'll be surprised.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Tomb Raider anime series coming very quick. I know people who have screeners for this right now, so like it is only a matter of weeks
It's
away.
next week.
So is
Isn't
it? I
I
thought it was the
next
first
week.
week of October.
Oh. That's next week in my
I'm
mind.
very excited. Kaylee
That's it.
Atwell playing Tomb Raider, an inspired choice. I'm gonna say A. I'm very excited for this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for this too. I think I will watch it. I'd probably go like like an A or a B. I think but because of what we're going to talk about next, I think.
Yeah,
I could go either way.
I'm more like putting it in a B tier. Just personally, I haven't found much connection in the anime adaptations of video game series. That's just me. I haven't seen too many of them, but only mainly because we'll talk about the live action version, and I'm a little bit more excited for that.
Let's jump right into that one. We're putting the anime in B as much as I do want it in A, but I'm excited. I like the Castlevania anime and stuff like that. The Tomb Raider live action series, not starring Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but basically she's show running the whole thing. Am I correct? Right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. She's
Okay.
writing it, yeah.
What are we thinking for this one? I'm also going A. I love a good treasure hunt. I love Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I'm in.
Yeah, I think for me, I love Phoebe Waller-Bridge's stuff. I love Fleabag a lot. I think as well what gave me a lot of faith in this. I know Prime Video's come up with some like pretty good stuff recently, but I think Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which Phoebe Waller-Bridge was initially attached to, Mr. and Mrs. Smith like really gave me a lot of faith in like what Prime Video could do. Just in kind of like the globe-trotting nature of that show, I think was like really impressive to me. And I think if they can just apply that kind of thinking with this live action show, in terms of just the scope and the scale of it, that gets me like really excited and like the potential of what it could be. Paired with like Phoebe's like writing, I think it'll be really good. So I'd probably put this in A as well.
I'm in agreement. Like I kind of just teed up, but I'm just interested to see, Phoebe Waller-Bridge like has had such a great history, particularly with like female written roles, like Killing Eve and what did you just say? Fleabag, yes, and those things are obviously like incredible. They pushed the boundaries, and I know that she's also, worked behind the scenes on James Bond and Indiana Jones and things like that. Particularly the Indiana Jones stint. I know she was starring in that. I think gives her like plenty of experience in this kind of area. Like Lara Croft's essentially like the female Indiana Jones. So I'm just really interested to see what she does with this character. Love Lara Croft, love Tomb Raider, and I'm excited to see more from her vision.
Okay, sitting in A. Next up, Fallout Season 2. We reviewed this show on the podcast just a few months ago. It's still one of the best shows I've seen this year. Really, really liked it. Thought it was a great adaptation. What do we think for Fallout Season 2? I would also, I think, put this in A.
Yeah, I think of the three of us, I was the most kind of down on the show. Like, I still liked it. I just didn't love it like everyone else did. But I'm still very excited about season 2. I think like the more the show went on, the more I was kind of gripped by the story. And what they set up with like New Vegas and stuff. Spoilers, sorry if you haven't seen the show. But it seems like it's going in a really cool direction. And I really like the characters. I think they're all really likable. Even though some of them are pretty horrible, especially the ghoul. He's just horrible to look at, but it's fine. So yeah, I'd probably go in A.
I would go one higher. This is S tier for me. There's not many more things I'm excited about than Fallout Season 2. Particularly, I think I was taken by surprise by how much I liked the first season. And I obviously they've set things up for a really, really exciting second season. If they can do more of the same with that, I think it's going to be great. It's kind of like The Last of Us. They have a really great foundation to build off.
Lauren, I think I think I would go with you there. I would put it as S as well. I said A, but the more I really liked season 1, and yeah, I think S works. We'll put it in S right now. In S, only second seasons, nothing new. We like those proven quantities here. Next up, the Ghost of Tsushima movie, very interesting, has been in development basically since the game came out, being directed by John Wick's Chad Stahelski, which I think could be very cool. I don't know if I would necessarily put this at the very top, but I could see it being quite high. Lauren, you have like only recently played Ghost of Tsushima, so how are you feeling about a potential movie adaptation?
Yeah, I think I'm a lot more fond of this than I was the last time we did this draft because back then we talked about it too. I don't think there's been many updates since then. This is the thing. Is this thing happening? Who knows? I hope it does because I mean, playing through the game, I was reminded about how actually cinematic it is. You can play it in black and white and in Japanese, and I think there's a opportunity for it to be a really incredible Japanese samurai film, but there's just been so little movement. That being said, I'm going to go A.
Tom?
Yeah, it's tough because, like, yeah, that is the question. Will this actually happen? I wonder if the kind of further around like Shogun, maybe we'll be like, oh, people are kind of interested in this kind of samurai stuff, for lack of a better term. And I think we are kind of missing like a really good like samurai movie. And I think if Chad Stahelski does stay on and do this, he could really knock it out of the park. I mean, the John Wick movies, like the action is just they build on everything so well. And applying that to like samurai setting, I think would be really cool. It is just a question of if it's going to happen or not. So I probably, because of the kind of uncertainty around it, I would probably go like a B maybe. But yeah, I could be swayed.
The last update about the movie was in June 2024, and it was that the studio was reportedly looking at Shogun's Hiroyuki Sanada to lead the movie.
Which would be awesome.
Would be fantastic. So it hasn't been really that long since, I mean, that was just a report, but there's been, when I talked to Chad Stahelski over a year ago, I asked them about it, and he said that things at that point were like moving, and they were moving fast, even though that was now 18 months ago.
Yeah.
I think A.
That's Hollywood.
That is Hollywood. Okay, next up, the Super Mario Brothers movie. I know, Lauren, you are itching. You cannot wait. That what was in that egg at the end of the first one? Will we ever find out? I don't know.
Yes.
It is coming. We are getting it. I don't know. Where's the hype at?
Do you want me to start so that you guys can go up? Because this is banished.
Oh my god!
Vanished.
Oh my god!
Sorry, hot take, but I
Wow.
didn't think the first movie was very good at all.
Whoa.
And I know it made $1 trillion
Wow.
and all the kids loved it and whatever, but I actually thought it was a very, very poor adaptation. Don't need more.
Okay. You don't
But
even
you
want to
can
see
now
if they
bring
could
it up.
improve. You don't even want to know if they could improve upon themselves. Like
Because I don't
you're
think
not
they
even.
will. I think that
Yeah.
they have proven their formula and they will do more of the same. But I'm willing to be surprised.
If
The
they just
thing
got rid
is-
of like 30% of the licensed music, it would have been so much better.
Yeah, I just think to be honest, I do agree. Like in a lot of what a lot of Lauren is saying, like I don't think I have faith in Illumination to do better. Like, and the box office speaks for itself. They're gonna look at that and be like, who cares what critics thought? It made $1 billion. Like, so I don't know if they're just gonna change the formula. I feel like it will just be, this kind of by the numbers sort of generic movie. And like I did like the movie overall, but that was like a very kind of like, it was because of the references, the music, the fact that Mario looks like Mario, not a horrible man. Like I think
Not John Leguizamo.
yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
god.
I don't know. I would probably go like a C tier, honestly. I just don't think it's gonna be that good. I at least don't think it's gonna be as. I don't think it's gonna be better than the first one.
It's funny because I'm gonna split the difference, and I think I'm at D, and I liked the first Super Mario movie. I'm just like, I liked it enough where it was like it was like eating a feast of junk food. and it was like, yes, I got what I needed and I never need to do that again. And that's kind of how I'm feeling about the Super Mario Brothers movie. Like, I don't really want more, if more of this at least. Because it was like they gave me, I saw it, like they played the song, they did the thing, they got the star power, and now I'm just kind of like, I'm excited to see Yoshi, but I'm way more excited for Sonic 3 than I am for Mario Bros 2.
It's interesting. I was trying to figure out like why is Sonic more appealing to me than this? Because I mean that has the human element, which we all agree is ridiculous and not at all entertaining. But there's something about it. I think the themes in that movie are better, the morals, and I just didn't. Yeah, this sort of just felt like an empty movie. So I just don't have any excitement for the next one.
I put it in D because it was the exact average of the three of us. Next up, the Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I was going to say the Five Nights at Freddy's movie 2, but that is not what it's called. FNAF 2 for all the kids out there. Tom Drew, you are our FNAF expert. I know that you know all the lore about the chicken and the weird bear. Where are you at for this one?
Oh God, I really don't know. I was like pretty lukewarm on the first movie. I think it was maybe slightly better than I thought it was going to be because like it had some things going for it, but it was also like such a weird like inversion of what the games are that I'm kind of like I don't know. I don't know if this is what I really want to see out of this franchise. I mean, Matthew Lillard is like fun to watch, but like the story's so stupid. It's so
It's
dumb.
Five Nights at Freddy's, though. It's literally about like a Chuck E. Cheese.
Story.
Where like, I don't know. Were you expecting the Odyssey? Like
no, but I think there's too much story. Is what I'm trying to say. I think there needs to be like it should be way more simple. It should just be these fucking animatronics are trying to kill people. Like that's what it should be, and that's all it needs to be. I think it's like all this stuff with William Afton, and it's just so convoluted. And that's what the fans want, right? Like that's what they want.
Yeah,
but it's just why?
Stop yelling at the
like,
cloud, man.
So dumb. So I don't know. I'll throw it in D tier to be honest.
Lauren, did you see the first one?
I did. I interviewed the director and Jason Blum.
I haven't seen the first one, so
you haven't seen it?
No.
Okay. Well, do you want to vote then, and then I'll go?
I don't know how the scale really works here. You guys created like the banished to S tier sort of thing. Where does like I don't care? Because like I'm not excited about it. I'm not like angry like I was watching the Minecraft trailer. So like, would it fall? Like, it's like a
Probably
C,
like C.
just like
I think C is like an
indifference?
average.
Yeah, like I'm just like completely. You know what? The people who like this thing can continue to like it, I guess, because this was another movie that made a lot of money. But I'm not itching to see the next one at all.
I quite liked it. I think once I got over my expectations and understood what it was, because I was hoping coming from Blumhouse it was going to be a scary horror movie. Turns out it's actually more like a children's horror movie, which I should have expected. This is a children's horror game. And I think it did exactly what it needed to. I thought the cast was pretty good. The story is a little convoluted. I get that. But considering that there is so little to go off in terms of, there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of fan lore, but I actually think they did a pretty good job. So I'll go C, because that probably averages us all out.
Perfect. Into C. Next up, the Amazon Prime, right? God of War series. I always mix up this and the Horizon Project, which is no longer at Netflix. It's now being shopped around.
Not on the list anymore.
The God of War series. What do we think? This could be like, this for me has one of the highest ceilings and lowest floors possible, because it's going to come down ultimately to like how good they can get this thing to look. And so it is. I'm quite excited still. I think I might even put it in S tier. It's either S or A for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm more cautiously optimistic because, like you say, I mean, are we going to have Minecraft movie visuals, or are we going to have like Fallout visuals? Like, like you say, there's a wide range there. But I think the inherent story, if they can tell that correctly out of God of War, is already it's baked there for them. They don't have to do much to change it, and I think it's very promising. So I might go A.
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with A. I think, like I kind of said with the Tomb Raider live action, I think Prime Video has a good sense of like, yeah, just the scale and making sure things do look relatively good. Like, The Boys looks good, Rings of Power, which I've not seen, like
Mm-hmm.
looks good. They spent $1 billion on it.
It looks really
So
good.
They've
I,
got
I,
money.
I, yeah, I'd hope that they would put the effort in and make this look as it should do. So yeah, I think this is relatively safe. I think the only thing holding me back is that, like, yeah, we haven't heard much more about it since the initial kind of reports, unless there's been some other updates along the way. But there just doesn't seem to be too much forward momentum. But when it does come out, I've you know reasonable expectations for it. That'll be decent.
Okay, it's sitting in A. Next up, Twisted Metal Season 2. I'm gonna plant my flag. I'm banishing this one for me. I I am
Excuse me?
I am actively against the Twisted Metal endeavor at
Have you
Paramount
seen
Plus.
season 1?
I saw the first few episodes of season 1 and did not finish the rest of it. It just wasn't for me.
Okay.
But
Each to
Knuckles,
their
on the
own.
other hand, let me tell you what, no, that's a
This
video
is where
game
your opinion has
adaptation.
zero weight. No.
Why?
I was pleasantly surprised by Twisted Metal, actually. I think I mean, the bar, my expectations weren't very high, having no experience with the video game, but I actually thought it was pretty good. I was going to put it in like B or C. I'm curious why you're so passionately against it.
Lauren, here's a little glimpse behind me and why I'm a broken human being. I don't like TV. I inherently just don't like the medium of television. And it largely has to do with I don't like being able to see the seams. I don't like the budgets that come with TV a lot of the times. It really takes me out of things. And I found Twisted Metal to be really just like, for lack of a better term, really dumb. Like the humor wasn't for me. It was very childish. There is like some connective tissue actually, I think, between it and Knuckles in some of the humor. There were some funny moments, but it is very juvenile. And then just the visuals of it, I couldn't do. I'm like, I do not like this. I do not like looking at this. It doesn't look that great. I'm sorry, Anthony Mackie. I do really like you, but
Right. Well, it comes down to me. Thing is, like, yeah, like I have heard from certain people, Lauren included, that like it is all right, but I just don't. I just don't know. I just don't think I'd ever watch it. Like, there are things on my priority list of things to watch that I just put above Twisted Metal that I don't know. I just don't really care. So I'd probably go for a D to split the difference.
okay, Twisted Metal into D. Next up, the Legend of Zelda movie from West Ball. Before seeing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I was maybe a little lower. Was still very excited for it. After seeing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, West Ball this movie is at least going to look great, I think. I'm just going to say it right now and let the two of you figure it out. This is my most anticipated video game adaptation, full stop, out of anything coming. I cannot wait, especially after seeing the Apes movie, because I think that visually, and there are like some plot beats in that movie that I was like, just do this with Link, like just do this exact sequence with Link, and it will be great. So I'm a little cautious that Sony Pictures is involved, but I'm excited that West Ball is into it because this is his dream. This is what he's always wanted to do: is make a Zelda movie, and he's going to do it.
So is that S tier?
I think it's S tier, yeah. If it's my most anticipated thing, I think it has to be S tier for me.
Tom, as the resident Legend of Zelda super fan, where are you going?
On Tom. Chris Pratt's going to be Link. It's going to be great.
He could play like a Goron.
Casting's going to be a big part of this.
I know.
This is the thing. I love Zelda. I love Zelda so much. but just for me, I feel like there's
It's gonna be
so
so
much that could go
good.
wrong. I've look, and in fairness, I haven't seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes yet. And I'm sure
It was good.
Westfall could,
Not great, but it was good.
yeah. So I feel like he could do a decent job, but I just, if this was an animated movie, it would be an S tier easily, because I feel like there's less that can go wrong, basically. But there's just so much you have to nail if it is live action, like just how it looks. There's so many like crazy characters, like different like races. Like if you have Zoras in the movie and Gorons, like you got to make sure they look okay. I don't want to show up to the movie and Zoras are just humans or Gorons are just big dudes. Like I don't want to see that. And I really hope that's not the direction they go. I'm sure that won't be the case, but I'm really worried about it. And there's so many ways I can see it going wrong. Yeah, I'm just so cautious. I'd probably go probably a B or a C, to be honest. Just because of
Splendid.
how cautious I am. Like I don't know. I don't. I want to set my expectations really low, so that if it is good, I'm gonna be blown away.
Tom, if right now, if as we were recording right now, they said Hunter Schafer is playing Princess Zelda, how high would that bump this up for you?
I think that casting's fine. I think it's good, but I think the more important casting is Link. Like I think
Okay.
you need to nail that casting. I think Zelda, it's easier to cast the role because she has spoken. It's so hard to cast for Link because he's not spoken other than the CDI games, which are terrible. So I think it's so tough.
I'm going to hedge my bets here. I obviously don't have as much of a connection to Zelda as you two do. I'm very, like, I think my excitement comes from intrigue of, like, I'm really interested to see what they are doing with it. And if it is like a Planet of the Apes approach with that kind of visual aesthetic and technology, I think we could be in for something really cool. But also could be the Minecraft movie. So
Don't
let's.
don't ever say that again.
Sorry, but we have to be careful in these times. The pendulum swings widely. So I think I'll go A just because I am quite like A or B. I mean, to maybe align with Tom, but um, yeah, I need more to go off.
Okay. I'll put it in B because you two both said B. Oh,
Climb.
I
What if we
thought
go
I
into
thought
the
we
movie? What if we go into the movie and instead of like actual like characters, it's like the Minecraft movie where they take the pixels and then they
Tom,
make them like all furry and stuff.
don't do
That's
this.
what I. That's what I
Don't
don't
say
want.
that. Don't say that. Like, just don't put that into the universe.
We gotta prepare for all outcomes. That's all I'm saying.
I'll say that like I could be more excited for this movie. I'm not like the most excited I've ever been, but if this was like my dream, like Studio Ghibli was making a Zelda movie, I would be like I wouldn't shut up about it. We wouldn't be able to do this
Yeah.
podcast because it would be all I would ever be talking about. I'm very
I think
excited.
with that, like, they just need to prove themselves first. It's like why we said
Mhm.
most of the things in S tier are seasons twos because we know that the foundation is good.
Yeah.
If this is
I
a
think
good movie, maybe the sequel will be our most anticipated
the
thing.
trailer's going to be huge. The second we get even a
Yeah.
tease or like a first still, it's going to tell a lot of where this movie is going. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, something coming very soon. Can't wait for the Concord episode. Secret Level, the Amazon Prime anthology series from the creators of Love, Death, and Robots, correct? Is that the name of the show?
Mhm.
Yes. On Netflix. I cannot wait for Secret Level. Just a couple months, December, right? I might put this in S. I'm very, very excited.
I could go a couple different ways with this. I think
Mm,
it's interesting because obviously it's an anthology, so there's ones I'm going to be more excited for than others, just
yeah.
inherently because of the franchises involved. Um, I think for me, it's interesting as well because like Love, Death, and the Robots. I think I said this when we talked about Secret Level initially. Um, that show, some of the episodes, some of the best animation I've ever seen. Like genuinely, some of them, oof. Some of them are like, let's be edgy just for the edgy's sake. I don't want that to be what this is. I don't think it will be necessarily, but I think for the ones that I am excited for, I could probably go like an A or a B. But what are you, Lauren?
Yeah, tough one because I'm with you. Like, Love, Death, and Robots varied a lot, and you just don't know how each like we actually like you say the Concord episode. Maybe that'll be the best episode of the season. Like we don't know, so I'm interested by the idea, and I'm happy to put it in A just for that.
Cool. It's going to go in A. And that will be the last we say about it. Okay, Until Dawn movie. I can't believe that they're doing this just because Until Dawn was so cinematic and was basically like playing a movie, and now it's just like it was making fun of those kind of teenage horror films of yesteryear, and now it's just going to be one of them, which could be cool. I don't know. Maybe they'll do the Megalopolis thing. You'll be able to interact with the screen and make choices. What do we think? Until Dawn, Tom?
Yeah, so I really love Until Dawn, just as like a game and the story. And I won't spoil it if you haven't played the game, but the monster in it, I think, is like really underutilized. And I think even if they just did that and didn't do any of the kind of like choose your own adventure, like changing butterfly effect, timeline, whatever, I still think it could be really good. So I'm actually pretty excited about it. Like whichever direction they take it. I'd probably go like an A for this.
Fair
Wow.
enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lauren.
I haven't played the games, as we know. I'm not into the horror games. I did play The Quarry, but with much assistance. I would like to play Until Dawn, but again, I'll need someone to like play with me with the lights on. Maybe I'll do that at some point while I live in my basement here in Canada. Um, but I mean, I think horror movies, they vary a lot, but I think they're easy to make. They're cheap. That's probably why they're doing it. And I think it has a lot of potential. I'm just really interested in what kind of story method they go with pulling all these alternate strands together. So, again, interested by the idea. I could probably go like B.
B was where I was thinking. I was trying to think of where I would go, and I think B would be. I'm not itching for it, but I'm interested.
Yeah, I can see
Okay.
that. I also think that the cast is going to be interesting to see because obviously the cast in the
Mm.
game is like amazing. And not to say that the movie's not going to be amazing, but it's been to see how they change it.
Next, another spooky game, Alan Wake. I like the vibe of Alan Wake, the games. I have not played the games. I really want to play Alan Wake 2. I like the vibe. Feels kind of Twin Peaksy, but I'm not really like itching to. I'm not really excited for an adaptation of it. I think that it works quite well as a game. I might put this as a C or a D.
Hmm.
I'm approaching this from the angle that I haven't played Alan Wake, maybe because I am a little bit spooked by it. So I actually look forward to being able to experience the story in another form, provided that they do it justice in that. I think I'm like, this is maybe a B for me.
Yeah, I was thinking similarly. I haven't played Alan Wake, and I do want to play the second one especially. But I'm interested to see like the vibe just seems like kind of cool, and I think that would translate very well. So I could go B.
Okay, B it is. Next we have Control, another Remedy game. I'm more excited for this than I would be an Alan Wake movie. I love the world design and just like visuals of Control, and I think you could do that in a movie fairly not fairly easily, but fairly effectively. So I would put this as an A or a B.
Yeah, I really like the visuals. Yeah, like you said, of Control. Like they have, it's really just. It already is such a cinematic game. And the vibe of it is just. Yeah, you can just put it on screen and it would make a lot of sense. So yeah, it's. I could go. It's like kind of interchangeable in a way with Alan Wake to me because they have kind of similar-ish themes and genre. I'd probably say B again, but we're also filling up B quite quickly. We might shift some of these around because it's getting pretty packed. Some of these,
Yeah.
we'll see.
I would actually probably go with Klein on this. I think it's an A. I'm more, again, haven't played Control, but I think I'm more interested in that story than I am of Alan Wake's. And again, this is a way for me to experience it in a new form. And I really like the character Jesse, is it? Or is that the actor?
Yep,
Yeah, Jesse
Jesse.
Faden. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm excited, honestly.
I just want to bring up a couple episodes ago we were talking about control, and I could not remember the name of the government organization. It's the Federal Bureau of Control. I'm just like, I've been shaking my head about that literally since I got off the podcast.
Okay.
Next up is The Sims. Margot Robbie attached, I think, right? Correct?
Well,
Yeah.
her production company is at
Okay.
least.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she is in, probably will have an executive producing credit on
Yeah.
this, if not starring in it as well. The Sims movie. What are we thinking? Lauren?
I think this is one of those ones where like more information is needed and some kind of something to go off. At least we talked about this on the podcast and we're all a little bit like, how does this work? What is this going to look like? Again, if they can do what they did with the Barbie movie with The Sims, I think we're in for a really great time. But because we just don't know, I think it's like a solid C. Like, just I don't feel one way or another about it.
I think C was where I was going to put it as well. Tom?
That's interesting because I was going to go a bit higher.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
Kay Herron is directing it, apparently. She did the first season of Loki. She did Sex Education as well. And I think there is still a lot of unknowns. We don't know how this is going to go, but I think if they kind of, do a similar thing with Barbie, like poke fun at it, and also like I think they could do interesting things with the production design, make it kind of like that dollhousey kind of aesthetic, of like you like kind of meddling with these Sims lives. I don't know how they're going to take it, but I was going to say A. I'm actually kind of like, just because of the pedigree behind it, I'm a lot more optimistic about this, but you know. I could go C, I guess. But it's up to you guys.
I could do B, I think. I think it's
That
going to
would
be a
be the
fun
middle
time.
ground.
Yeah, that would be the middle ground. Okay, in B, Death Stranding. This is I don't know what to think about this. I'm excited. Maybe this will be Kojima's directorial debut. That's all I could ever want. I think this is a C, even though I am like kind of interested, but it is to me just such a like nebulous thing at this point.
I'm in agreement. Again, haven't played the game, but from what I could tell, I don't know what kind of story it has, but might be very confusing.
Yeah, it's batshit.
I'm interested to see again how they do it, but I don't really feel too strongly about it.
You see, Lauren, in this world, this pandemic laden world that they live in, Norman Reedus' character is named Sam Bridges because he's a mailman and he's connecting people like a bridge does. And
Thanks
there's
for
weird ink
mansplaining that.
monsters. And Troy Baker. And Troy Baker wears a weird black mask, right?
No, there's like a different guy, but he also, I think,
I thought
he's
got
like
this weird
he looks like a clown guy. He looks like a clown dude.
Oh yeah, and he's got a cool
Die
suit.
Hard Man is the guy with the black mask, I think. Yeah. As for me, yeah, I'm not really sure about this.
I feel attacked.
Olaf.
Move it swiftly along. Yeah, I think A24 is involved, which
Wait, what? I didn't know
Sorry?
that.
yeah, they're distributing it. I'm pretty sure. Which that's interesting. I think for me though, it would take a director like to get me excited about this. Like if Jordan Peele came out and was like, "I'm doing this movie," I would be a lot more interested in it. But since we don't have a director attached, I'd probably go see as well. I just really don't know how they're gonna do it. Like it just seems so strange, and it's weird because like Death Stranding as a game, it's a walking simulator for the most part. So like the gameplay,
delivering mail.
like yeah, you're just delivering stuff. So maybe you don't have to include all of that in the movie, but yeah, I wonder if it does work better as a game almost. But yeah, I'd say C for me.
What if Alex Garland makes the Death Stranding movie?
That would be sick.
That would be
I love
awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Next up,
cool.
it is Stray, the tale of a little kitty in a robot city. What are we thinking here?
Tough one.
An Annapurna game.
Yeah, true. I didn't connect to this as much as I would have liked to when I played the game. Um, although I think it could be inherently very cinematic. This would make a great, like, really cool animated movie. Um, which, like, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of ads for the Wild Robot right now, which is something I'm very excited about. If they kind of mimic that kind of art style, I think this would look really awesome. But I think like it might be a C because I wasn't like as sold in the story in Stray on the first time around.
Tom?
Yeah, so like yeah, Annapurna Animation's working on it, and
Also, it is
they
animated.
it is animated, so that
Oh,
gives me a
great.
bit more hope on it. And they worked on Nimona, which came out last year. I loved Nimona. I thought it
Great
was
movie.
really great. So it really depends on the director. They haven't announced a director on this yet. But yeah, I wasn't like you, Lauren. I wasn't really taken with Stray as much as some people. But yeah, I would say like I'm interested in it by the fact that Annapurna is involved and the Nimona connection. So I'd probably like C is probably
Okay.
where I'd go.
It's going into C. That's where I would put it as well. If I had connected with Stray more, I think I would be more excited. But as the two of you said, it didn't get its hooks in me like I really, really wanted it to. Next up is BioShock, which has been in development forever, coming out at Netflix. The last we heard was that it's still happening, but they are making it a significantly smaller scale story, and they are basically trimming down budgets at Netflix films across the board, or Netflix projects across the board. So that scares me a little bit because I think BioShock needs all of the money. Because if you're going to do this really
Mm.
well and really get that atmosphere and all of that, you need to build a city underwater essentially. So I am excited, but I am very nervous, and I don't know where I'm going to put it.
I'm pretty excited. I think I was last time as well, although there's been very little movement since then. I believe Francis Lawrence is still attached to direct. He did the Hunger Games movies, which I love, obviously. So I'm pretty optimistic, and I love the Bioshock world. Again, visuals are going to be very important, so that's concerning if production budget's coming down. But I think there's still a rich enough world to tell a really interesting story, even if it isn't super CGI heavy. I'm going A.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really tough because yeah, that reduced budget thing like really makes me worried. Because yeah, like so said, Klein, like Rapture is so important. Like it is just like it's basically a
It's one
character
of
in
the
its
main,
own.
yeah, it's one of the main
It's like
characters.
Gotham. It informs so much of the atmosphere, and the tone. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm hopeful that it could be good. So maybe I'd go like B, but also and I do like Francis Lawrence. I do like his Hunger Game movies. So yeah, I'd probably go about there, but I'm also very cautious about it.
I would, yeah, A or B. I'm not sure. Um, where are we putting it? A or B? Tom or Lauren? What do we?
I said A. I was told in my
I
A.
know, I know, I know. A, sure. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't think it's like S tier
Room for
worthy.
disappointment.
Yes. Next is the upcoming Like a Dragon Yakuza series from Amazon Prime. It is coming out very soon. It was literally announced earlier this year, and they announced it as it was essentially done filming.
Mm.
And here it is. It's just, I think, a few weeks away. It's not far away at all. I think this could be very fun. I think this could be very good. I don't know if I am like going to run out day one and watch it, but I have a feeling this is going to be like solid enough. So I would
Yeah,
probably say B.
yeah. I think this is one of those things where it needs to capture that. I haven't played any of the Yakuza games, but it really does need to capture that like goofy kind of
Mm-hmm.
tone that those games managed to um capture. And I think like we've only got like a very short teaser trailer, so it's kind of hard to judge it. I think
Mm.
this will be one of those where I'll wait to see what people are saying about it before I check it out. But it could be good. So I'd probably go like a B or a C potentially.
Yeah, I might go C just because, again, I don't have many feelings towards it. Haven't played the games. Haven't seen much from the show yet. I hope it's really good though. It's one of those things I'll wait for the reviews to decide on whether I watch it or not.
Tone will be huge because it's that the best part about Yakuza is that mix of the like I'm connected with these criminal families and their drama and all of that, and then also I'm going and like doing karaoke and like
Mm.
fighting men with bikes. So, like it's weird. So I hope that they have said in quotes that they're doing their own thing, but it will feel like the game. So that could be really fun instead of being this like just like full on like straight across really intense criminal drama. Like have some fun and make it almost like not make fun of itself, but know that it's tongue in cheek. Assassin's Creed. I'm unaware of like I don't know where's Assassin's Creed? What's it doing? Is it a movie? Is it a TV show?
I think this is the Netflix TV show, which we haven't seen much movement on
Oh,
since the last
yes.
time we talked about it again. And I think even then, we've been very burned by the Assassin's Creed movie. Not to say that it can't be good, it's just that we just don't know. Which time period will this be in? Will they be using all the Abstergo storylines? Like, there's so many things that could make this like good or bad. I feel kind of like average on it because of I love Assassin's Creed games, don't love what they've done with it on screen, so I might go see.
Yeah, I think like if it's a show, but it's also on Netflix, so, like who knows what the budget's going to be. I think like one way that I think it would be really cool, like because there's also always the question of like what time period is going to be. I think it'd be really cool if it's like each episode was just a different assassin and a different time period. They just jump around and like we got to find this thing in this time period and this thing in this one. And like the if they're going to do the Abstergo stuff and the Animus and like I think that would be a cool angle of it. Um, but I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going
Probably
to do
not.
that at all. So yeah, I don't know. I just Assassin's Creed in general. I've kind of my excitement for it just it's elapsed a lot. I think I'd probably go C or D.
I would also go C or D. So I think we should just put it in C because we all said C.
Sounds good.
Assassin's Creed into C. Next up, it is the Division movie, another Ubisoft project. I like the Division games. I think Division 2 is some of the most fun I had that generation. It could be a very cool Tom Clancy style movie project. I don't know if we're going to get that. I think we're going to get a very generic action film about this kind of weird flu and the end of man and these like government agents trying to fix everything. So I would probably
So
actually go D for Division.
Oh wow, that's not where I thought you were gonna go.
this is again one that we talked about 2 years ago, and nothing has happened since. So basically, all we know, or what we knew at the time, was that Netflix is doing the movie, and that Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain are starring in it. Killer cast. I'm into that. Premise, as you said, is pretty good. Tom Clancy novels obviously write themselves, like they're very engaging espionage or thriller stories. But just the fact that nothing has happened in so long leaves me to think like, ugh, like this might not be going so well. So I might go D as well.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you guys say. I think D. Like I don't know. I just don't really have too much interest in it.
The final three here. Next up is the Sifu film. This was announced shortly after the release of Sifu, the martial arts roguelike game that I really liked. I wrote a review for it over on the direct.com actually. It's a lot of fun and I'm excited for more of this world. I'd like if they make a cool kick-ass kung fu movie out of this with this like weird like the game has this weird aging mechanic where every time you die like you get older and older and older. I think that like that could be very cool. Like basically like I guess reverse Benjamin Button because you're getting older, but like mixed with kung fu. That sounds awesome. So I might actually go A.
Ooh. I'm
Yeah.
excited, but I'm not that excited. I haven't played the game, but because I think it's going to be far too hard for me. But like you say, if they can do a cool stylistic kung fu movie, that would be very exciting. But we just don't know. With like so many of these things, which direction it's going to take. Hence, I'm more on the C tier.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're also getting this in Secret Level. It's going to be one of the episodes.
Forgot about that.
So I wonder. I think that's going to be like it's animated in that, and this is like seemingly a live action thing. I would like a really cool, just yeah, like a kung fu movie, martial arts movie.
The John Wick
There,
creator Derek Kolstad is involved.
yeah. So that's interesting as well. Um, I'd probably go. I'll split the difference. I'll go B.
B.
It's
Okay.
like
The
a.
last we heard about this movie was when it was announced in December 2022.
So we'll see if it even happens at this
Yes.
rate.
Yeah. There's been a lot that's happened in Hollywood since then. Okay. B. Sifu. Next, the sequel to the. Did it earn $1 billion? I know it was one of the highest grossing movies of that year. It must not have because it was like right in the pandemic era and stuff.
A billion?
Hey Tom, it was one of the biggest movies of the year though. Tom Holland's Uncharted. So Uncharted 2, it's still happening. We have quotes over on the direct saying that it is still happening. I love Uncharted. I'm excited for more Uncharted movies because I'm a mark. I will just consume anything Uncharted they will put in front of me. Do I think the Uncharted movie was any good? Not really, not at all. But it played the music and Nolan North was in it, so I left happy. I am, oh god, like as a diehard Uncharted fan, I'm probably putting this in C. I'll watch it. It's a fine. The first one was a fine enough movie. It wasn't good. It wasn't egregiously bad in my mind. But I'm not. I don't know. I think the second one could be better, but I'm not like super duper vibrating over the idea of more.
I think we talked about this in one of our very first podcasts, did we not? It was that long ago. And we all felt that like the promise of what the movie could be kind of really came together in the last 10 minutes. We're like, where was more of that? And so I think if they capture that feeling and turn that into Uncharted 2 and kind of stick more closely to the storyline of the games, that was another thing that was confusing. At the time, we hadn't played Uncharted, but now we have. And so I would like to see them explore that area. Could be good. I mean, I don't have very high hopes for it, but I would definitely see it if they're making one. And I also just checked it made 400 million worldwide.
Which
Bit
was a
less
big
than a
deal.
billion.
It was a big deal at the time though, because it was
Yeah.
like
No, it was very it did very well.
everything was shut down.
Yeah, it did very well. So with that being said, yeah, maybe like a C, probably a C. Tom's gonna shoot us down.
Tom wants to banish Tom
Tom's gonna
Holland
banish
and Mark
it. Yeah.
Wahlberg.
Guys, you know how I feel about this movie. I do
Do,
not like
do,
it. I just think it's. I just never want to watch it again. I like
Oh,
it.
no.
It's not even like the worst movie ever. I just thought it was
No,
like so
it
unremarkable.
it's so like okay.
That's
Is like the best thing I can say
Very
about it.
average.
I don't want to see another just okay movie. And like especially if Ruben Fleischer's coming back. I liked Zombieland a lot that he did. But a lot of his other stuff, it's just not great. Like, and I just don't think I could put myself through that. I think as well because now that we've played the first three, two is definitely my favorite of the three that we've played, and just seeing that kind of taken apart and like cobbled together into 2 hours, I just don't know if I want to see that. So if it up to me, it would be banished for sure. So I don't know how that affects the tier list, but yeah,
It could go in D. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could go
Sure.
in D. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Next and finally, the Watch Dogs movie finished filming this week. This thing is actually happening. Where are we at with? I don't really know your guys' feeling about the like Watch Dogs franchise at all, so this will be interesting. I would probably put myself as like fairly indifferent, so like C. I think it could potentially be cool, but I'm not excited for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing with Watch Dogs, I haven't played it. It was one of the few like Wii U games that like the Ubisoft was like, we'll throw it on the Wii U.
Yeah,
Why
I think
not?
it
But I
was.
still
I
didn't
think it
play it.
came. No, it wasn't at launch, but it did come
Yeah,
fairly soon
eventually.
after it came. Yeah,
So yeah, in terms of the IP, it's whatever. But like, the idea of hackers and stuff, that's kind of cool. The thing that gets me a bit more excited for this than like the average movie, um, Tom Blythe is in it, and he was in the most recent Hunger Games movie. I liked him in that. I thought he was good. The thing that's most exciting for me though is that Sophie Wilde's in it. And if you haven't seen Talk to Me, which is an Australian horror film, she's incredible in that. Like, and I don't know if that's going to translate into what Watch Dogs will, need her to do. But she really blew me away in that. So that alone definitely bumps this up for me. But it could really depend. Like the writing might not be up to snuff. There's a lot of different factors. But yeah, that gets me excited. But having said that, it is probably like a C or a B, somewhere around that kind of range.
they could do some cool action in here with like
Yeah.
in a chase and like one. I remember one of the coolest feelings in the first Watch Dogs game was being chased by police and like putting up those like barriers that they had in this futuristic
Mm,
Chicago and like hacking the people's identity. I really liked Watch Dogs 2, San Francisco. Yeah, Watch
yeah.
Dogs 2 was a lot of fun. Like they really improved upon it, and then Legion came out. I didn't play Legion, and then the franchise kind of disappeared. Like we haven't gotten a new one since then.
I'm pretty into this. I love a good hacker story. Obviously, I love
Sure.
Mr. Robot. And I think particularly if even if it's because obviously the technology in the games is probably dated. It was futuristic, but certain things, we can now do for real. And I think if it's more of a like relevant, like modern take on that story, we could have something really cool going on here. And I agree with Tom on the cast. Incredible casting, huge potential. So I'm pretty excited for it, but maybe we'll go like C, D.
Oh, I thought
What
you
did
were
we
going to
say?
say higher.
Thanks, C.
What did you guys say? C or B?
I said a B or C.
Yeah, I said B or C as well. As well.
Okay, well maybe B. I guess I am
Okay,
pretty excited.
Yeah, that's fair though.
cool. Watch Dogs into B, and that is our tier list. We will run down the list very quickly, and then that'll be it. In S tier, we have Arcane Season 2, The Last of Us Season 2, and Fallout Season 2. Tom, would you like to read A tier?
Yeah, A tier comprises of the Tomb Raider live action series, Ghost of Tsushima, the God of War series, Secret Level, Control, and Bioshock.
Lauren, the B tier.
It's like we're like reading in class.
I know.
Okay, the B tier has Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Tomb Raider anime, The Legend of Zelda movie, The Until Dawn movie, Alan Wake, The Sims, Sifu, and Watch Dogs.
In C tier, we have Five Nights at I can't say the name of this goddamn movie. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. There we
Enough.
go. Death Stranding, Stray, Like a Dragon Yakuza, and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, D tier is comprised of Super Mario Brothers 2, Twisted Metal Season 2, The Division, and Uncharted 2. A lot of twos in that one.
And then Lauren Rouse, the F tier.
Yes, only one movie was banished today, and it was the Minecraft movie.
Bum, bum, bum. You can let us know what you think about this tier list over on social media. We'll put it up everywhere. That is at controller_club on Twitter and at controller club pod on Instagram. We'll also probably do some clips from the show today over on TikTok, which is controller.club on TikTok. Also, on all those platforms, you can join in on our video game book club that we do each and every month. It is called New Game Plus, and for this month in September, we are playing Star Wars Outlaws, the new game from Ubisoft, from the Division team. Actually, we've all started it. We were all playing it. Tom said he's just got to space, so probably only a few hours in. Lauren, how are you? How's it coming for you?
I'm about 12 hours in.
Okay, cool. I have rolled credits 20, I think it's 28 or 26. And I think I'll continue to play. I'm just, there's more stuff to do. There's a galaxy far, far away to save until Plucky Squire shows up and takes over my time. But yeah,
So
you
for
can
2
join
days.
in. You can join in on the conversation on that over on social media. Wherever you're listening right now or watching, Yes, we are on YouTube as of today. Just look up Controller Club. YouTube.com/Controller Club should be able to find us, and we will show up. We'll be doing video podcasts over there, clips from the show, segments, all sorts of fun stuff. We were just kind of starting to experiment with video a little bit, and figured 120 episodes in, now's the time. No better time. I think this YouTube thing is gonna stick around for a while. So you can come over there, subscribe, say hello, and send in any questions, topic ideas, just simple hellos in the comments of this video. What do they say? Ring the bell, click like and subscribe, leave a comment, or you can send us an email. That is controllerclubpod@gmail.com. Tom Drew, now that people can see your pretty face, how does it feel that the face reveals have happened? Where can people keep up with you online?
Yeah, I think the most dedicated parasocial people will know what we look like. All the people that know us in real life. So yeah, this is our debut. It feels good. But yeah, if you want to follow what I've got lined up, you can follow me at Tom Drew Art on Instagram and Twitter. It was announced it must be like a month ago now, but cartoonnetwork.com is like dead now, which was very sad. So I've got some artwork just to commemorate the memories that channel brought to me, and maybe to a lot of you. So if you want to tune in for that, Tom Drew Art, you'll find that there.
Lauren, what about you? Where can people keep up with you and all of your Vancouverite adventures?
You can follow me at lrouse19. That's Rouse spelt as in house. If you'd like to see the adventures I had on the Last of Us set, where the photos that I could get, some of those are on Twitter now. And putting up the clips on our pages this week. I experimented with trying to be funny. So let us know if we were successful by going and telling us on our clip on Instagram and TikTok.
She's doing her best to make us look funny because none of us have a funny bone in our body. We actually, Lauren, we did uncover in London is the funniest amongst us, but Tom and I.
So the bar's low.
Nothing at all.
Help us out,
she
guys,
did pretty good.
Please.
She did pretty good. That clip is quite hilarious. It was a roller coaster ride, that PS5 Pro reveal. Yeah. You can keep up with me everywhere. I'm at the Kleinfeld, TheKleinFelt. Got a lot of fun stuff just over at the Direct, my Star Wars podcast, Reckless Rebellion. Just keep up with me on Instagram, Twitter. You'll find everything over there. That's going to wrap up this episode of Controller Club. I want to thank you so much for listening. Now, let's get gaming.